In this video, we'll show you how one mold can be used in numerous ways to achieve various results. From foam to rotocasting, we show you the steps it takes to create a multifunctional mold of a skull. Get ready as BJB continues to take the mystery out of materials. First, it's important that you spray your part with mold release. Today, I'm using rocket release. Adhere the skull to a board with hot glue. Using TC5024 tin silicone, brush your first layer of silicone into all the details. To speed up the curing process, I create a condensation box with wet paper towels and a cardboard box, which reduces the recoat time to 15 minutes. Once the first layer has gelled, we can add our second layer of silicone. Again, be sure to brush the silicone into all the details of the skull. We replace the condensation box to speed up the cure time between layers. Then we're ready for our fiber-thickened silicone layer. I add a few well-placed keys with silicone I had cut and ready from a previous project. Thickening the silicone to a putty-like paste helps the keys to stay in place and not droop. Replace the condensation box, wait to gel, and repeat the process on the other side of the skull. The eyes of the skull are great registration points. Be sure to fill them in a bit so there's not too much of an undercut. Replace the condensation box once again and wait for the silicone to cure fully. Once the silicone is fully cured, we can construct our rigid jacket mold. First, trim the bottom silicone flange to a neat shape with a razor. Roll out some plastilina clay to create a center parting line on the skull. Press a marble into the clay every few inches to create registration marks. Spray the board, silicone, and plastilina clay with rocket release. Brush on your first jacket mold layer of BR75D rigid urethane. Make sure to get enough material into the registration marks on the clay so you don't end up with air bubbles. After the first layer has gelled in about 15 minutes, you can apply your second layer of BR75D. I tinted the third layer with our violet pigment, my personal favorite, so that I can make sure I got enough coverage. I apply a fourth fiber-thickened layer to the top plastilina flange and the bottom board flange to ensure that they are thick enough for drilling and clamping later. After the first half of the jacket mold has cured, it is safe to remove the plastilina clay parting line. Clean up the edges of the jacket mold with a Dremel or sander. Apply a generous amount of rocket release to the first half of the jacket mold to ensure that your second half does not adhere to it. Repeat the same steps as you did with the first half of the jacket mold. Allow the jacket mold to fully cure, drill bolt holes every few inches, and insert bolts and wing nuts. Sand the edges of the mold. Unbolt the mold and remove the jacket. Cut the silicone mold from the back up to the center of the top of the skull using a razor and reverse pliers, and remove your part. The mold turned out great. Now we're ready to rotocast our crystal skull. First, spray mold release into the silicone mold. Then clamp your mold to a board with a hole drilled out for a pour spout. Center the mold in the rotocaster and pour the first 200-gram shot of TC874 translucent rigid urethane. Place a plug in the pour hole and allow your mold to rotocast at a low speed for about 15 minutes. Then pour in the second 200-gram shot of material and allow to rotocast for another 15 minutes. The skull looks great. Now let's cast some foam out of the same mold. First, spray rocket release into the silicone mold and onto the board and plug. Clamp the board to the jacket mold, then mix and pour TC284 Polysoft Foam Pigmented Black. The foam rises within about 30 seconds, so be sure to place the plug quickly. Note, this plug has a small vent hole drilled into it to allow air to escape while still providing back pressure. Remove the clamps and cut off the foam that is blocking the vent. Remove the board and bolts from the jacket mold and demold your foam skull. The foam skull looks fantastic. Now let's add some finishing touches to our skulls. First, take your crystal resin skull and rub kiwi black shoe polish into all the low points. Next, take your foam skull and dry brush Sculpt Nouveau bronze paint onto all the high points. These simple steps really bring out the details in the skulls. One mold with multiple casting and finishing methods. We hope that this tutorial has given you some ideas about what you can cast out of a silicone jacket with rigid support shell. Thanks for watching. You can find links to BJB products in the making of this video in the description. We have a wide variety of quality mold making and casting materials with technical help to choose the right product for your application. Be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to BJB's YouTube channel and social media. We have many beginner and advanced videos, as well as tech tips to help take the mystery out of materials.